Again, thank you all for joining on this lovely Tuesday in December. Today, I had the pleasure of introducing our speaker, Bhargav Perepa. Bhargav has been in IBM for almost 30 years, and he has a strong passion for IBM Cloud as he's earned over 5 certifications. So, Bhargav, I'm going to hand it over to you. Take it away.
Thank you, Danielle, and the team. Happy to see you join us. I'm going to actually go off I welcome you to our final Tech Tuesday for this year. I'm going to go off my video here. Here is the plan for us, okay? Let me start sharing my screen. Okay, so if you see this, I hope you all can see my screen. This is my bookend. This is my desktop. What I want to do is basically walk us through why should we care for Istio and Service Mesh technologies on IBM Cloud. Okay, this is my document that I would use for us to learn from each other. That's number one. This is where I'm actually going to show you that the webinar that I'm actually delivering today is something that you can do by yourself, totally at your fingertips. This is the service mesh tutorial that I'm actually going to walk us through, and this is Istio tutorial. And some of these tutorials will cost you zero. Okay, so these are the resources that you have that you can work on your own. The other piece I want to show you is this is actually a very good book, which is also free, Introduction to Istio and Service Mesh from Red Hat. Okay, this is an electronic book that we all can download, and I can provide you the details. I'm actually going to show the value of why we should care for this technology with Red Hat OpenShift on IBM Cloud and IBM Kubernetes services on IBM Cloud by walking us through those tutorials step by step. Okay, this is my structured cheat sheet. This is where we'll be doing the bulk of our steps, and this is actually an example that's out there in GitHub. It's an open source example that I would be using. So this is the terminal window that I'll be using. If I come here, I came too far. Okay, so for about 5 to 10 minutes, I want to actually us get connected to why we should care for this technology, and why we should specifically try to deploy them and learn on IBM Cloud versus other clouds. Okay, that's it. So what exactly is the problem or the pain points that this particular technology will help us resolve? Okay, um, microservices architecture that we all know is in currently in fashion, which is also called cloud native. This technology requires small standalone services having to communicate with similar kind of services in an overall solution. Okay, we call that a peer-to-peer service-to-service communication. This is the style of interaction that the today's technology demands from us. We also call this east-to-west communication, basically peer-to-peer services talking as equals. Unlike the old technology, the monolithic or SOA technology, where the client-server communication is somewhat asymmetric, with servers dominating the clients in the SOA architecture, where the interaction for service-to-service communication is north to south or server to client. Okay, so this is one difference why we have to worry about Istio and Service Mesh. Second assumption that is widely used but not realistic is your network is actually very robust. We call this fallacies of distributed computing, meaning network is reliable. The time to respond is zero, or network latency is zero, bandwidth is infinity, network is secure. None of these assumptions are really correct in a real world. Okay, these are not true. Networks are not reliable. Latency is not zero. Bandwidth is not infinite. uh, Technology or topology does change. Machines go up and down in a network, right? So this is the second reason. These are realistic uh, facts of life. The third thing, microservices architecture actually uses technology, meaning the services you build in an overall solution may use multiple languages. One of the things I'm going to show we are going to deploy is an example application that is called Book Info. If you look at the Book Info, the, uh, the Book Info's main program is written in Python. Some of the other component services that the Book Info uses are written in Java. For example, Review 1233 versions. The details of the book we are dealing with is written in Ruby, and ratings for this entire Book Info application is written in Node. And this collectively, these microservices, actually 3 plus 3, 6 of these services are an overall solution. That is what we are dealing with. So typically microservices are really written in multiple languages and they all communicate with each other in a seamless way. And that's what is the fashion today. That is unlike the monolithic one language written big, huge solution that we all went through in a SOA world, right? So that's another thing. So if you look at these kind of uh, problems is what Istio and Service Mesh helps us resolve. Okay. Now, if we use these Service Mesh or Istio technologies, what exactly are we going to benefit from? Speed to value and speed to deliver. That's number one. This is the business outcome you can expect. Consistency and improved quality in your delivered software. That's a second benefit. The third benefit, because you have these millions, hundreds and thousands of microservices, ability to manage them consistently, ability to provide a same baseline security on wire, uh, at store, in cache, while being processed, you have that security. And while your actually microservices are being invoked, ability to observe, ability to log, ability to meter, ability to collect metrics, we call that observability. Those are the things we'll benefit from for the business. For people who are technically skilled architects, developers, administrators, and operators, what exactly are we getting? Separation of concerns, meaning we focus on our daily job. If I'm a developer, if I'm an administrator and operator, rather than deal with this microservices managing or security, we don't have to deal with it. I'll deal with my business at hand. Okay. Externalization. So some of the key capabilities Service Mesh and Istio is offering, they're taken out from my program or our programs, our business logic. So you can declaratively manage, you can automate, you can do enforcement through policy rather than programming, right? So separation of concerns or externalization. Consistency for production quality. That's one of the things. You can do POCs, you can do MVPs, you can do pilots, but business will derive value when you deploy to operational use on day one and then keep the lights on for day two, day three, day four, and as long as it needs, right? So what that means is production quality requires security, resiliency because your network is not stable, service to service communication, not programming, externally managing in a way that we can scale, right? So while you do all this, we need visibility, we need observability, we need control in a way that again we don't program, but we inject through declaration, right? So that's what we're looking for as business outcomes. Now, when you look at what kind of use cases Service Mesh and Istio actually help us realize, visibility into production. So one of the things that happened in one of the major big projects like Netflix and NPR is Istio and Service Mesh technologies are so good. They actually mask your production problems because they compensate. Okay. So one of the things that we learned by putting these technologies to use in production kind of scenarios is you want to actually do alerts. So you basically when your production application, one or couple of your microservices go down, okay, Istio and Service Mesh technologies compensate that outage by retrying at a later point. And when the service comes back up, you're not seeing it because of retry with a delay logic and a back off, right? So in a way, it's compensating, but you want to actually know this. So doing the alerts will help you do that. So basically, in a production deployment, when things are not working out, having the visibility into those outages is a good use case. Okay, you want to really do alerts and events dissemination so you'll be able to figure out. Second, early and creative testing. What this is canary or A/B testing, right? So you have an ability, you believe your code is ready for production quality. What you can do is you can take a fraction of your real production workload and route it to your near ready non-production code and see how the code behaves, right? So without you actually deploying your code to production, but subjecting that code to production quality traffic, you're able to do testing. That's a real candidate use case that is being actually practiced. The third use case that you might want to think about when we put this technology to use is cloud migration. Especially in a production quality deployment, you need security. What Service Mesh and Istio enables you to do is not having to worry about security. Just write your application in a non-secure way, HTTP way of deploying, and deploy it to production with Istio providing the security injection, right? If you do that, your speed to value comes in because security requires provisioning certificate authority, provisioning TLS SSL certificates, making sure they are current, making sure they are not compromised. If they are compromised, revoking all this non-functional nonsense, you don't have to deal and deploy and have Service Mesh inject dynamically into that deployment. Okay, that's cloud readiness. And the fourth is incrementally application modernization. Basically, what this is you can insert some components that are ready for microservices and deploy using Service Mesh, and the other services that are legacy and not onboard them. Again, how can you do that? Using A/B kind of testing enablement or using multiple versions where you route the traffic to a version that is ready and not to the other version, right? So I'll show you some of those. Now, okay, so every cloud vendor actually gives you this kind of technology capability. Why we should care for IBM while this is available on Microsoft, Google, and Amazon? One of the reasons why you want to care for this technology to be running on IBM is less friction and open source heritage. Istio and Service Mesh originally was contributed by IBM along with Google and Lyft. Okay, so what that means for us is deep skills and also onboarding the latest versions of this technology on IBM Cloud more quickly with a higher speed. Second is clearly the equivalent of serverless. I mean, we use OpenWhisk technologies on IBM Cloud. When you use the similar kind of technologies on, let's say, Amazon, you're really talking about Lambda functions, right? So we want to make sure your learning is utilized with more of open technologies. That's what I would like to submit here. Pay for, again, resources. When you use your resources on production quality, only pay for those use. So some kind of serverless technology also comes into play when we use um, you know Istio and Service Mesh. Okay, so the other reasons, managed infrastructure. Clearly, what I'm going to demonstrate, Istio and Service Mesh, they are managed delivery on IBM Cloud, and that has a benefit for us. What exactly I'm going to demonstrate in this webinar live demo, A/B testing or canaries, traffic routing, I'm going to show you, dark launches, again, capabilities that are deployed to production but not visible to the end user, and actually subjecting your almost ready code to production kind of a traffic. Egress blocking, some of these, a subset of these capabilities. Security, clearly I'm going to demonstrate. Observability, I'm going to demonstrate. Okay. Task highlights. What are we learning in this demo? Deploy Service Mesh to OpenShift on IBM Cloud. Deploy Istio on IBM Kubernetes services on IBM Cloud. Demonstrate an open source application that is called Bookinfo that has multiple different languages with microservices, 6 of them. Show the metrics logging tracing. Show Istio ingress gateway. Demonstrate security. Also demonstrate traffic management. Okay. Now, this is the example I'm going to show you. This is the architecture that you all can learn by yourself on those 2 tutorials. And let's start now. Okay. So right now, Service Mesh is what I want to show you first. And Istio after I do the Service Mesh. And very first thing I want to show you, as I said, this example has 7 to 9 steps. You all can run on your own. But the very first thing I want to do is log into IBM Cloud. So I can show you this example. Okay, you can see I'm already logged in. Very first thing I want to show you, what do I have here? Okay, I have five nodes deployed. You can see here, 2 of them are running on Washington, DC region with 1 data center. 3 of these machines are running in Dallas region with 1 zone, 3 machines. Okay. One of this, the one that is running in Dallas, is running on IBM Kubernetes services. The one that is running in Washington, DC is running on OpenShift. You can see, so I have my OpenShift with 3 machines. I have my actually OpenShift with 2 machines, and the Kubernetes services that's on Dallas, 3 machines, right? So 2 plus 3, 5. Okay. What else I have? My OpenShift is backed actually with a file storage. I have 6 instances of observability. Again, you can see 3 each in Dallas and Washington, DC regions. Activity tracker, logging, and metrics. Okay, so this is basically what my setup is. Very first thing I want to show us is, let me show you my OpenShift. Service Mesh running on OpenShift on IBM Cloud. You can see I have this here. I have already created, because my goal is not to create in front of you, which we all can do. There is not much learning, but let's assume if you want to do, how do you do? I'm not going to create, I have already here, but I will show you quickly. You click on OpenShift create cluster, you select a manual setup. There is no automation like Terraform or anything. You'll say classic or VPC. Classic is current technology, VPC is the future technology. You can use either of them. You can select whichever version you want. I chose one of these versions. Don't remember, I think I chose latest. If you have a license, you can use. If you don't have a license, we'll give you. You can create your resource group. I chose default. You can name whatever you want. You can have multiple zones in a region, or you can select a single zone, which I did. Within a single zone, you can select whichever zone you want. As I said, I chose one of these. Let's say Dallas. It will create the private network for you. You can size your machines and the number of machines. I chose for OpenShift 2 and for IKS3 just grinds for a variety. I can size 4 CPUs 16 gig or bigger. You can choose your profile. Change flavor will help you do that, which I'm not doing. Encrypt on storage at rest. Name whatever machine name you want and enable observability. Okay, so that's the way you do. Now I'm going to go back and not do this, but also show you what I already have. You can see this is my dashboard. My OpenShift cluster has 2 machines. It's healthy. I can reach it. I have down below here my networking. I enable logging. I enable monitoring. I have not enabled key management service. I could have enabled many other things like debugging tool, static routing, auto cluster, many other things, key orchestrator, right? I have, as I mentioned, 2 nodes. You can see where they are. You can see their private IP. You can see what version I'm running, what the public IP. That's what I have. Okay, 2 out of 2, the profile, the IDs, encryption, and where they are. Okay, next, what I want to do, I want to get onto the console and show you the solution I have deployed for us. Okay, very first thing, when I come in, what I'm going to do, while I'm actually walking you through, I also want to make sure I can use my command line because we'll be doing some things. So I'm actually going to log in to my command line. Okay, I'm in the command line right now. I just logged in. And before okay, so now I'm going to close this. Now that I currently logged in, this is my dashboard. The things that I want you to remember here is we need to care for 2 things. I deployed a project called Bookinfo. That's open source project. It's running currently. I also deployed Istio Service Mesh in OpenShift cluster. Okay, this is what we have to care for. You can see I have it running. Istio system. I can also show you my Bookinfo is running. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to switch it to Istio. Okay. Second thing I want to show you, I have deployed for this system 4 operators. Operators is automation driven deployment within OpenShift. You can also do Ansible, you can do Terraform, you can do many other Helm charts, but I have deployed 4 operators. One of them is Elasticsearch. Second one is distributed tracing across microservices. Third is visibility and observability with Kiali open source operator. And the fourth one is service mesh. They're all deployed running. Okay, that's what we need to remember. The third thing I want to show you is basically what components are running in this namespace. As I mentioned, in this namespace, sorry, I just need to show you. I have gateway, ingress gateway, I have Grafana, I have egress gateway, outbound traffic, I have Prometheus for metrics, I have basic Istio. I have also distributed tracing, visibility with Jaeger. I have Kiali that actually gives you a complete visualization of your traffic flows with canaries. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, back in my Bookinfo, I have my application running with 6 microservices, which you can see right here. Okay, now let's go back to admin view based on roles. What do I want to show you? I want to show you each of these capabilities so we can understand what we mean by microservices observability. I need to be in Istio project. Right here, I can show you. I have my example application deployed with 6 microservices. I have Grafana. I have Ingress Gateway for inbound traffic. That is not secure. I have inbound traffic that is TLS enabled. For this example, I have distributed tracing. I have distributed tracing and canaries with the visualization. I have metrics. Okay, let's start um, actually walking us through. Okay, if I go to Grafana, actually I have to go back, sorry. I want to launch Grafana dashboard for us, which is running here. Sorry, I have to go to my home, go to Istio, go to service dashboard, show the workloads. I'm ready here. You can see nothing is running. Okay, so what I now want to do, actually launch all my dashboards and then drive the traffic. Okay, so you see Grafana. Okay, I don't care for that. I care for Jaeger. Let's look at the book info traffic. Okay, you don't see any traffic. I want Kiali. Let's launch graph. Let's launch book info. Let's display traffic rate. I want to show operation nodes. I want to show animation. I want to show security. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. Now let's go to the final piece. So I have that Prometheus. Let's show the targets. Okay, my targets are up and running. Now, what I want to do is show you certain pieces in my command console. Okay, so I'm going to show. Okay, I'm copying this. I'm going to paste. So what I'm showing you is in the Istio project, I have my pods running. You can see all of them. Grafana, Ingress, Egress, Basic, Istio application, Jaeger and Kiali and Prometheus, which I showed you. I also want to show you the services that are running for the same set of things I just mentioned. I'm also showing you within my business application book info, the parts that are running 6 microservices and their respective services. Okay, that's what we have seen so far. The second thing I want to show you, the ingress and egress that we need, and I'm going to show you right here. So clear my screen so it's not cluttered. That's my route. And you can see I have, okay, so I just want to make sure I'm going to correctly set up or export to the endpoint. Let's Control C, export, ingress host is my variable, and I paste it. So I defined my ingress variable. Now what I'm going to do is launch my application, the book info, from command line. Oh, I got navigated away. Okay, so here it's running. You can see This is my book info. I just launched. Okay, I can refresh. Now, what I want to do is back on my next. I'm sorry, my sequence went a bit out of way here, but I need to inject the traffic. Okay, so what we are going to do is I'm going to inject this traffic into this window and loop it for 200 times so we can see the difference. Okay, so right now when I enter, if it's running correctly, you should get 200 OK return code, which we are getting. Okay, that means this is actually busily running. Now let's look at Kiali. You can see actually, I don't know you can see or not, my traffic is actually running right now. When I show you, the animation is showing you. So the way the traffic is moving, you can see when I highlight, you can see the flow. When I highlight this path, the canary path or multiple paths, you can see. If I don't highlight anything, you are able to see how the traffic is actually flowing. If I go ahead and select Istio also, you should be able to see the refreshed. And if I want to see traffic distribution, traffic throughput, and traffic response times, I should be able to see more numbers here. Okay, so this is number one. Number two, I also want to show you that this end-to-end is security enabled and security injected. Okay, so yeah, this is because again, sometimes it's a bandwidth challenge, but you can see a live animation. So when I click on this lock, I can show you that is mutual TLS is enabled in this deployment, and this TLS end to end is actually injected without me programming. Okay, because if you look at my simple example, you can see it is not secure. Okay, you can see right here it's not secure. So the baseline example is not security enabled, but the Istio has injected. So that's number one. Let's look at Jaeger. If I now try to look at the observability, I can click on any of these dots and I can figure out how much of time it took for each hop as the round trip traffic is flowing end to end in this solution that has a collection of 6 microservices. I can drill down where the bottlenecks are in the forward or return trip, and or in case one of these microservices went down, how my network is behaving, right? So that actually is what you have a detailed observability. You can pick any one of these to look, the rating surveys, review surveys, you can inspect. That's what Jaeger does. Now, this is your dashboard with Grafana. It's actually showing you as I inject the live traffic, right? So that's the dashboard. What else can I show you? I also want to show you, if I take this route, Istio gateway that is not secure, and click on this and go to this URL at the end and say, it is the end product page. I think I didn't type it correctly. Product page. That works without security. Let's go back to this one and let's go to that endpoint. Product page. That works, and you can see the lock. So I ran the insecure application in production with Service Mesh actually injecting the security. Okay. Now, what else can I show you? Let me show you a couple of other things and then we switch to the second example. I just want to watch my time here. Yeah. Logging, the same example. You can see gazillion uh, lines that are being entered into this log. And if I search here, Istio, I should be able to see. Okay, so this is centralized logging, right? The other piece I want to show is back in monitoring with sysdig, right? So here I can see within my namespace, I can see the other project. This is actually, I'm looking at the service mesh. I can look at available namespaces. I can look at any types. Daemon sets are, infrastructure are my own deployed applications. I can drill down any of these by baseline your infra, right? So here I can select OpenShift control plane, OpenShift. I can select my container. So I can see pretty much a complete matrix and golden signals live as things are happening. Now I want to, yeah, so my 200 run is complete. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to show. Now what I really wanted to pivot quickly right in the same window is show you Istio instead of service mesh. Okay, so let me quickly close down. I just want to show you one important thing that is called A/B testing or canary. Okay, so as you can see, I'm quickly shutting this down so I can actually walk us through the second use case. Okay, so this is service mesh. We are done here. Now, this is Istio. It's a smaller, it's a fewer steps. Now, let me go back to cloud, IBM. Back here, I'm here in my account. Let's look at Kubernetes cluster instead of OpenShift. You can see my Tech4Tuesday Istio IKS is running on IKS cluster, IBM Kubernetes cluster. I already created, so I'm not going to create one more. Let's say if I want to create, how would I do that? I select standard, I select classic or VPC, I select the version that I want, which I did that one. I can select single or multi-zone. I chose single, you could do multi. I can select whichever region I want. I selected one of these ones. I can select the profile for my machine, either balanced, either compute intensive, IO intensive, whatever. I can define my resource group. I can define private or public endpoints. I chose public because I want to demo. Normally you would not do that. You can name whatever you want and then you have the observability. Okay, so we're not going to do this because I have already done this for us. Let's now click on my network, IKS, Istio running on my IKS. I have 3 machines, healthy, normal. I can connect to dashboard. I have my nodes, their private and public IP addresses and the versions of IKS running. My worker pool, what configuration I have, right? So you can see the details. Boot volume is again encrypted. At rest, I'm running Ubuntu 18. Okay, back, let's go to dashboard. I just need 5 more minutes. Okay, because the one I'm going to show you is very important. I have 2 projects. The one is book info and the other one is Istio. This is my Istio project. My default is where my book info is running. I can show you the product page. So I'm going to switch myself to Istio because I want to show you Istio system. I have egress, ingress, and my Istio project deployed. I have my pods running. You can see I have my ingress classes configured, public and private. I have my services running, egress, ingress, and Istio. I have many other things going on. I don't care right now. What I really now want to do, because I logged in here. Okay, so I want to go back and I want to connect quickly to, I need to show you the traffic management. Okay, so what I want to do, back here, I paste. I'm just logging in. That's to my account. Okay, okay, so we're good now. Now what I want to show you is a quick set of commands here, right from here to here. Okay, my apologies. Hopefully I'm not redundant here. Okay, so I pasted. I didn't log in. So I have to log in here. I did log in. Oh yeah, I didn't log into my Kubernetes cluster. Let's see if that works. I'm sorry, I just have a little typo here. Okay, IBM Cloud. Okay, so it wants me to log in. Let's log in one last time. Okay, I targeted. Okay, I need to do this. Okay, now I just have to set my context. I have two clusters. That was the okay, Tech Tuesday. Yeah, this is the one I need. Those two commands. Just need few minutes here. I want you to be bit patient here. Okay, so I have that. I don't need to add on. I want to show the labels and explain one concept here quickly. I can show you, I'm showing you in my IKS cluster, the labels, and you can see I enabled injection for security. So you don't have to program. Now let's quickly go to this one example, one set of query commands. What I'm showing you here is basically on my Istio project, all my things are running that I showed you on dashboard. On that same Istio project, all my services are running. On my default book info project, all my pods are running, 6 microservices and their services are running. That's what we just established. Now I want to show the critical value of testing AB or canary. I just need 4 commands here. I'm exporting my ingress IP. I'm exporting the variable for my ingress port. I now have my gateway variable defined. I didn't define. I just missed E. Okay, now I have. Now let's do a curl to see if we can get to the endpoint. 200 means it's good. Now I just want to show you one little thing here. Launch my application, which is running right now. You can see in the browser, it has 5 red stars. Okay, let's do one little experiment. At this point, I'm actually opening my virtual routes. This is the whole beauty of, okay, so no is this YAML. What I'm doing right now is I'm running with no stars 33%. I'm running with red stars 33%. I'm running with black stars 34% in my application. So if you go back to your application and refresh gazillion times, I have no review stars. I have red stars. I have black stars. Let's go into our notebook here and actually make this 0 and make this 0 and make this 100. What I'm actually doing is not doing programming. I'm actually doing declaration, right? So let's apply this with this command, which is this one. And let me show you. That'll be that is the last experiment we do. So we made a change. We are routing the traffic just to one of the virtual routes. Okay, now let's try. It's going to be red stars all the time, and I'm not going to have black stars or no stars, because this is what is service mesh or Istio will do. It will enable you to do canary or A/B testing by simply not programming, but just changing the YAML file or declaratively the percentages where you want the traffic to get routed to. You have done this. That's the whole value of Istio and Service Mesh. With us not programming, but actually declaratively uh, explaining to the system, to the runtime, so the runtime will take care of it. Okay. And I want to thank you. And if you have any questions, absolutely happy to answer by email or by any other way. Okay. Thank you. Back to you, Danielle.
Great, Bhargav. Thank you so much.